Guys, one of the biggest faults in golf is on downswing, what the club shaft is doing relative to our body. So fault number one that I see with golfers that are trying to hit the golf ball is they take the club to the top of that swing, and what happens is they have a tendency to move the club out the way. So what I mean by out the way is they get the club, think of this right shoulder, they get the right shoulder to shoot out towards the golf ball. What happens is the club head moves out the way, the shaft gets nice and steep, which we don't really necessarily want when we want to try and hit the ball consistently. It's good with an iron, but it's not so good with a driver. So think about the different feelings that you should have within your golf swing. So what I mean is, if you get to the top of the backswing, first fault, the first movement is to move the right shoulder towards the golf ball. Shaft gets really steep. So think about the idea is trying to keep the shaft that we're swinging in line with our feet line. So that's the main kind of concept to use today. So people take the club back. What they need to focus on is you've got a hand, so your hands can travel either inside or outside. It just varies on the type of shaped swing you have. So the first thing what we need to do is we need to try and get the shaft line in line with our feet line. So that's going to help us deliver the club back on that angle. So guys, we've all been there, we're standing over the golf ball, we're not entirely sure what to do. So I've got a drill that's going to help you guys work on the downswing. So what I mean by downswing is how we get the club from the top of the backswing into impact. So the first drill, what we're going to use is we're going to use a split grip drill. This is a drill I use quite regularly with golfers who struggle to get the club back on track. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a lead hand, keep on the top of the club, place our right hand down the club so it's almost on the metal of the golf club, almost in this action. It's almost in that action. So for me to get the club to the top, so we're going to do this down the line. So we take the club, we hinge the club up with our left hand, so we're getting the shaft parallel to the feet line. The first thing we need to do is we need to hinge the club up to the top, which is going to get our right hand obviously in a split position. This is going to help you feel that the right shoulder stays back. So if we throw this right hand, then what's going to happen to the shaft? It's going to get steep. So we're keeping this right shoulder back by feeling like our right hand is almost facing to the sky. The palm of our right hand is facing to the sky. Left hand's almost back of the left wrist is pointing to the sky, almost in that position. Hinge the club, get the club shaft parallel to the ground, hinge the club to the top. Keep this right shoulder back. We don't want to move this right shoulder towards the golf ball. So we're keeping the right shoulder back. And to start the downswing, what we're going to do is we're going to apply pressure into the ground. We're not throwing this right shoulder towards the golf ball. We're getting behind it, so we're getting our arms behind the golf ball. We're keeping our right shoulder back, so it's behind the golf ball. So in order for us to get the club to start the downswing, we have to apply pressure into the ground. So rehearse that a few times. Hinge the club to the top, apply pressure into the ground, get the shaft slightly in a shallower position. So we're laying the club down, and then from there, because we're slightly applying pressure on the ground with our lower body, what's going to happen is we're going to create a bit of space with our lower body. So the lower body creates space, which gives the hands enough time to release. So how do we square the club up from that position? So as we mentioned before, we hinge the club to the top. We're trying to get the shaft parallel to our feet line, get the right shoulder back. We don't want to drag this right shoulder out towards the golf ball, which is going to create a steep shaft plane. So we're getting to the top, hinge the club up, get the shaft back down to the last parallel position, rotate the body so the left hip moves out the way, so let's do that down the line. Get to the top. If I get the shaft steep, then I don't have enough time to turn my body without throwing the hands at it. So we get to the top, apply pressure to the ground, so do this movement 4 or 5 times, just pumping into the ground. Keep the right shoulder back, left hip rotates out of the way. Our arms are going to respond to what the body does, so the arms are going to basically the lower body is going to open up. But how do we square the club face up? So what's going to happen from here is the lower body's opening up, which naturally gets the right hand to move out towards the golf ball. The left hand's pulled in towards the body. The club up to the top, split grip, apply pressure into the ground. What's going to happen from there is the right hand's going to move out towards the golf ball, which is going to effectively close the club face. The left hand moves in towards the golf ball. But what happens here, the left hip moves out, so think about the left hip and left shoulder move in towards the golf ball, which is going to get this left hand to move in. So the right shoulder's staying back, which meaning that the right hand's going to push out towards the golf ball, and that's going to help us hit the ball more consistently. Split grip, hinge the club up to the top. What's going to happen is my body's going to make space for our hands to release the golf club. So if I was to get shaft steep, then what's going to happen is I'm not going to have enough room. So get to the top, what's going to happen, the right shoulder stays back, we're going to get the shaft back into its original position. So from there, how do we square the club face up? So what happens is, as I mentioned, the left shoulder moves in, the left hip moves in, the left hand's taking it inside the golf ball, the right hand moves out towards the golf ball, which is going to effectively close the club face, but the rotation of the body naturally closes the club face. So we don't want to get in this position. This is one of the biggest faults I see people get to the top of the backswing. What they do is they drag on the handle too much, pull the left hand, and what happens is that leaves the club face miles open. So we're doing the opposite to that. We're almost as if we feel like we're not early releasing, we're training on different sensations. So we're getting to the top of the backswing, we feel like we're getting the shaft to move in towards the body a bit more. So feel like the club head gets a little bit above the hands, so we're getting to this position. We feel like we're throwing the club head out, but we're allowing the rotation of the body to take the club along with us. This will feel like we're early releasing, but we're training different patterns within our golf swing. We're not holding into this position, we're not restoring lag, because if you hold on to lag in this position, then what's going to happen is you're not going to know how to release it. So let's feel like we're releasing that lag as early as possible. I know it'll feel a little bit like you're almost casting, but as long as you turn your body, then that's not going to be classed as casting. So let's go through that. Get to the top, split grip drill, hinge the club up, get to the top of the backswing, apply pressure on the ground, get the shaft plane to marry the feet plane. From there, how do we square the club face up? So we get to that last parallel position. What's going to happen is the right hand's almost going to move out towards the golf ball, which naturally closes the club face. The left hand's moving in towards the body, which is almost going to get that action. We feel like we're closing the club face over, putting the toe more towards the ground, the ground's pointing towards the ground. So, any thoughts on that video, make sure you post your comments below. So that's my best downswing drill that's going to help you master the downswing. So let's go step by step again. So, split grip, hinge the club up to the almost first parallel position, take the club up to the top, we're pinning this right shoulder back, so we're pinning this right shoulder back, we don't want the right shoulder moving out. Get the shaft to move with the rotation of the body rotates. What happens from there is the shaft's going to get in the last parallel position, applying pressure back into the ground. So what's going to happen from there is the right hand's going to move out towards golf ball, left hand's going to move in. That tilts the shaft, so see that position, it's almost in this position, that tilts the shaft, gets the club face to close. But because the body's opening up, that gives the hands enough space to release the club. So we're not dragging onto the handle, we're allowing the body to exit left, which is going to get the hands to exit left as well. So make sure you post your comments below, any thoughts on that video, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, Jamie and Golf. Any other topics you want discussed within any part of the golf game, rules, anything like that, post your comments below and then I'll get filming. Thanks for listening and subscribe to the channel.